This is Jeremiah 15:3. And it says, "And I will appoint over them four kinds, saith Yahweh, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy." I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shot from the Chicago camp, coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this precept was inspired by, a recent trip that I had to Lincoln Park Zoo here in Chicago. I haven't been there in a few years. But as I'm walking through the zoo, it really dawned on me again that should I say, it dawned on me the creativity of the Lord and his beauty and perfection of how he made animals and creatures, of the same species, just different heights, different colors, different sounds. It, it's really a beautiful thing to behold when you can sit and just look at nature and animals and birds. It's really a beautiful thing to behold that the Lord gave the knowledge to the elect to create these things. If you can receive that. But it was just a really beautiful thing. And there was one part in the zoo that we got to, and it was a cage, and the title said "Wild Painted Dog." And so I'm looking at the cage and I can't see anything. And so there was a couple that said, "Oh, well, if you want to see them, you have to kind of go up the hill and around. They're resting behind the log." So I'm like, okay, cool. So family and I, we go up the hill and around to the back, and lo and behold, there you see the wild painted dog. I believe it was from Africa, either South or North Africa, something like that. And man, when I tell you these things were huge, these things were huge. I mean, huge. I mean, them standing on their four legs, their face would probably come up to the chest of a man that's probably, I say, around 5'10" to 6 feet. And their bodies are just big and massive and muscular. I was like, holy shit, these things are huge. And as I started observing them, I noticed in these cages these humongous thigh bones that have been ravished to pieces. I mean, huge ass thigh bones. These had to have come straight from, a farm or a slaughterhouse. Like this was, or maybe something even bigger. I don't know. All I can see is that thigh bone was huge. And I was like, damn, them two things went to town on that thigh bone. And it had me thinking that just as the Lord created these creatures in their beauty and their perfection to serve their purpose in life for good stuff, I was like, man, can you imagine what's going to happen when the day comes where people are not going to want to come to work because of what's going on, because they can't afford it or it's too dangerous? What's going to happen when you have that day where you're going to have somebody that's so sadistic and fiendish that they just say, fuck it. We're going to let, if the two-legged animals can run loose, meaning humans, we're going to let the four-legged animals run loose too. And I said to myself, holy shit, if this type of animal gets out in the public, woo. And it just had me thinking of Jacob's trouble. You know, was it Jeremiah 30:7? And it says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And I was, as like I said, I was looking at all these animals, especially these wild painted dogs. I would say one of those things that brothers would be saved from is the Lord putting that wrath and that fury on these animals. Because if you don't think that somebody is going to be fiendish or just evil enough to just let these wild animals go, or these animals won't break free, you are sadly mistaken. Because in that time, the Lord's going to take that dread of man off of these animals in its entirety. Because I'm not sure if you all know, in the beginning, you know, the Lord put that dread of man on the animals. And I believe that was in the time of Noah. Let me put that on pause, to put this on pause and try to find it real quick. It was in Genesis 9:1. And it says, and the Most High blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Now, I want to get that word dread. Okay. Go to Genesis 9. Dread. Hop. Hoth.
Strong's H 2844. Chath. Chath.
And it says fear, terror, shattered, dismayed, shattered, dismayed. It says concretely, crushed, also afraid, abstractly, terror, broken, dismayed, dread, fear. So, right, the Lord is going to put, in the beginning, the Lord put the terror and the fear of man upon the beasts, so that they would do as they say and be able to be used for what they need, especially in a more easily fashion. But I thought about this, as I said, when I was at the zoo. I thought about it, and I was like, if when that prophecy has to come true. What was that? Jeremiah, was it 15:7? Let me pause it and find it. Yeah, it was Jeremiah 15:3. And it says, and I will appoint over them four kinds, saith Yahweh, the sword to slay, the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beast of the earth to devour and destroy. So I was thinking, like, whoa, You mean to tell me a time is going to come very soon where the Lord is completely going to take the fear of man off of the animal, to where he's just going to allow that animal to unleash its fullest potential of fury and rage. I said, man, I do not want to be caught up in that. I'm telling you, man, let me see if I can look that up for you all. Painted dog. I think it was called the African, because it looks like a hyena. Yeah, this is it, but this picture doesn't do it justice. These pictures don't do it justice. These things were huge. These were massively huge. No. Yeah, these pictures don't do it justice. Those two dogs were like freaking massive. But nonetheless, I was thinking about this because this is a prophecy that's going to happen. And the Lord spoke this prophecy because it's going to be judgment for many of you Israelites out there. Because when you read up in Jeremiah 15:1, it says, Then said Yahweh unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. And why is that? Because ever since how do I want to say this? Do I want to say ever since we were a nation of people? Maybe not. I'll just say for a long time. Just makes it easier. For a long time, our people just have this track record of just being hard headed, prideful, and stiff necked. A good example of that is the book of Judges. Every time the Israelites would disobey the Lord will chastise us. And then when we got tired of getting our asses kicked, we cried to the Lord. He would deliver us. And then after a while of being content and not getting punished, what happened? Fell back into the same bad habits. Then the Lord will chastise us again. Then we cry out, and then he sends somebody to deliver us. That's the whole pattern of the book of Judges. And nothing is different from today. Because when you go to the book of Ezra, it tells you that the things that the Lord does are for amendment, for correction. But see, our people don't want to listen. And because of that, that's why the Lord spoke this prophecy to happen in the future. And it says, And it shall come to pass, if they say unto me, Whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, Thus saith Yahweh, such as for death to death, such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as for the famine to the famine, and such as for the captivity to the captivity. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith Yahweh, the sword to slay, the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beast of the earth to devour and destroy. Okay? And I'm telling you, those painted dogs were huge. And that was just them. We've all been to the zoo and we've seen lions. We've seen tigers. We've seen cheetahs. We've seen pumas. We've seen jaguars, bears. I mean, not to quote the Wizard of Oz, but when you talk about lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, that's going to be that scenario. Because there was another one, I believe it was in Jeremiah, was it 7? Where it also talks of this judgment. Yep. And yep, Jeremiah 7 and 33. Actually, I'm going to start at 32. It says, Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the sons of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. For they shall bury in Tophet till there be no place, and the carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls of the heaven and for the beasts of the earth, and none shall fray them away. Because you all have to remember the time that we're coming in, it's going to be mass death and slaughter. So much so that it's not going to be any room or time to bury these people. So when that time comes, when these beasts get let loose, not only are these beasts going to be killing people, but they're going to also be the cleanup crew as well. You know, that's hey, that's all I really wanted to say on that. It was just something that, as I said, was on my mind, just going to the zoo and just seeing these animals. As I said before, to look at these creatures and their beauty and perfection of how the Lord made them is an amazing thing. But also, it's a scary thing because these beautiful creatures that the Lord created in their perfection to do what they're supposed to do according to his will are going to be the same creatures that are going to unleash their fury according to his will. So, that's all I wanted to say on that. I hope you all were edified. And until the next time, we're going to say Shalom.